Before pulling out, the driver should walk around the entire truck and check on the cattle through the slats to be sure they have settled in. The tailgate must be secured and all the paperwork verified and transferred before driving away. During transit, the driver is officially in charge of the cattle and responsible for their well-being. Check the weather forecast, not just from the starting point or the final destination, but all along the route. Likewise, check for possible road conditions or construction issues that could slow down the trip. Alternate routes should be planned in advance. During summer, don't stop in the heat of the day, as that would affect conditions in the truck and cause rising temperatures with no airflow. In fact, traveling in the early morning or at night in the summer is best for the cattle.
Weather is always a concern when hauling livestock. Livestock are sensitive to extremes in either heat or cold. When considering hot weather conditions, we can use the Livestock Weather Safety Index, which is available through USDA. That index is a combination of relative humidity and air temperature and describes conditions which might become dangerous or potentially lethal to livestock during hauling. If we take a look at the Livestock Weather Safety Index, we can see that even at air temperatures as low as 85 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit, if high relative humidity exists, somewhere above 90% for example, we are either in the danger zone or approaching the emergency zone in terms of safety for livestock. During these types of conditions, it's important to haul livestock either early in the morning or at night and to open all possible vents in the trailer to allow for maximum airflow and cooling. It's also very important in these conditions not to stop and allow the livestock to sit in a stopped truck so that heat loads become excessive.
In the cold months, care should be taken to keep the cattle warm. Be sure sidewall slats are inserted to avoid frostbite. Traveling in the daylight hours takes advantage of the warmest part of the day.
One of the big issues that we have at national carriers in the wintertime is that we have a buildup of liquid in our trailers and it makes it very slippery for the cattle. We want to wash out the trailers a lot more often in the wintertime to keep the cows from sliding and slipping in their trailers. That'll cause a broke leg or bruises to the cow.
Drivers should pull away slowly from the loading area with a clear path out of the ranch or feedlot to avoid excessive starting, stopping, and turning. While on the road, drivers should always remember they are carrying live cargo. Accelerate slowly. Avoid quick, jerky motions or bumps at high speeds. Anticipate stops by decelerating slowly well before the stop. Always make slow, wide turns to avoid excessive weight shifts in the trailer. A fast turn could cause cattle to fall or the trailer to tip over. Unnecessary stops should be avoided, but during long hauls, drivers must take breaks. However, do not stop and park near another cattle truck, as this will make the cattle anxious and could spread disease. Check on the cattle to be sure none are down. If this has happened, call ahead requesting prompt and assisted unloading.
Basically we're looking at when we take off with the critters and the first 2 to 4 miles, they need to get their legs underneath them. They need to stabilize, and you'll see in videos that we've put together, in the first 4 or 5 miles, the cattle will start to go head to tail, head to tail. They'll work their way, and they'll find that the position in which they're going to ride for generally the entire trip. And once they get that position after the first half hour or 20 minutes, things are pretty good. And as long as your starts and your stops, your braking, your turns are done with great care and caution, and your acceleration is done on a gradient scale and shifting, you probably won't have any problem. We're saying that you should be checking the load after 2 hours and then again every 4 hours after that.
Driving with these trucks with cattle on them can be very, very dangerous. It can be harmful for cattle. You want to make sure you start slow, you stop slow, if at all possible. Those cattle moving, they're live animals, and they walk back and forth in the trailer. So you don't want to slam on your brakes and have 15 heads slam up to the front of your trailer. It hurts the cattle. It could also cause you to lose control of your truck. Going around curves. If a curve says 35 mile an hour, don't go 35, go 30. You slow down a little bit. It's real important because you're a high profile trailer as it is, and you have cattle stacked up on the top deck. So make sure you take curves very slow. You don't want to lay a cow or a trailer over on its side with cattle in it. It's not a pretty sight.